What's up, Coach?
Not much. Another year, back at it again.
How much did you miss it the year you were out?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I did miss football. I miss being around the guys, the locker room. As you know, being in the locker room for so many years as a player, that's what you miss even as a coach. And I needed the year, honestly, to kind of clear my head, recharge, regroup, put a plan together for my future if I wanted to get back into coaching and all that. But the year was great.
I mean, I know you're not going to say this, so I'm going to say this. All right. I mean, you took over like maybe one of the craziest freaking situations ever. Okay, I mean that's just at least how we see it.
I expected worse, so that was good. Thank you.
We're live on Sky Sports,
right?
so I didn't want to say anything crazy. But how do you delicately approach kind of rebuilding the emotional state of your football team after a year like that?
I mean, that was everything that I thought of.
It was
when I took over, like how. I've got about 2.5 months here before I'm with the team.
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't know if I was going to have anybody show up to the offseason program. They're all going to be mad at every head coach out there. And, so I put a lot of thought into my messaging, how I was going to approach the offseason. And, I talked a lot about communication. I talked a lot about trust. I talked a lot about surrounding yourself with the right people and really kind of infiltrating that through the web of the football team, in the offseason. And we weren't even at 90 yet, right?
Yeah.
We're just kind of our guys coming off the 21 season. So continuing to do that and just seeing me for who I am and just gaining their trust one day at a time as we went through the offseason.
Yeah.
When did you think it clicked and you won them over? What point?
Oh, when I gave him the mandatory 3 days off at the end of the offseason. But I really did feel like at the end of the offseason program, the end of OTAs right there in June before we broke for the summer break, that I had a good feel for them. They had a good feel for me, and we were in a good place heading into camp.
Yeah, you killed the draft. You guys killed free agency. All right, so kind of piggybacking off, I saw you at the Hall of Fame game on the field to start the year.
Yeah.
And Mike will tell you, when we got done and the next day we did the show, I was like, I don't know what the Jaguars are going to be, but damn, they look good. You had like some impressive looking guys. When did you feel like, oh damn, like we can actually maybe be a little more competitive than I thought taking over this team in this situation?
It really wasn't until probably about 3-4 weeks into camp that I felt like we had a pretty good football team, or at least a nucleus of guys. I thought our quarterback was making strides each day in training camp. Even though we didn't win a preseason game, I still felt confident enough that we could probably win 7, 8, possibly 9 games. And everybody was kind of saying, 6,
you're
maybe
crazy.
7, you're crazy.
Right.
You're not there yet. Maybe you're a year away, development of your quarterback and all that, and probably so. But I just felt like as training camp progressed that, we could really compete.
Yeah.
And
you weren't going to be overmatched by anybody.
We weren't going to be overmatched and really compete for the AFC South.
Right.
You hit that rough stretch, too, because things started well, 2-1. Up 14-0, I think, against the Eagles in Philadelphia.
Yeah, kind of controlling
And then it went
things.
the other way.
Yeah.
And Trevor points to that 5th loss, the loss to the Broncos in London, as the epiphany for him, the awakening. Was that really the moment where things turned for the whole team?
I believe so. I know it changed for him. It changed for me as a coach, I think, in my leadership with the team, and how I needed to keep the team together, because we could have easily spiraled at that point, which the team previously in previous years did.
Yeah.
And it was really a credit to I think the team, the leadership. I do a leadership council, with my team, and I just made an impact with them, and like say, listen guys, you're the ones that are going to carry this football team the rest of the season. How do you want this thing to go?
Right.
And we made the switch, and the switch of the light came on, and the rest is history after that.
Yeah, you empowered the locker room a little bit. Hey, you guys get at this. Don't let it fall off the rails here.
They're the ones that play.
They got it. You got to have that guy or two.
Players play.
Yeah. How about for him, that Denver game that he's bringing up? I was starting to go, I don't know. Maybe he's not going to turn the corner. Maybe he's not going to get to the point where I thought he might get. Right? Talk about him, his makeup. I mean, his talent level, just, everything that kind of impressed you and what he fought through the year.
After that game, he and I had a conversation, and I wanted him to understand that he's our guy, and
Yeah.
we have full confidence in him. Go out there and be you. Cut it loose. Have fun. Don't hold back.
So you didn't get on him. You gave him more
I
confidence.
empowered him
and
even more.
Loved him more.
And
right.
loved on him more and just said, dude, you're our guy.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to look over your shoulder and go cut it loose. And we just kept working with him. Mike McCoy did a great job,
Yeah.
Sort of mentoring him as well in that
Sure.
room. And just the influences he had around him, I think gave him confidence and gave him more confidence and stability in his own performance. And he really took off in the second half. And you saw a difference from, I think, the first Chiefs game we played him
Right.
to the divisional
Oh,
round.
my
You saw a
gosh.
more confident team. Or the first Chargers game to the second Chargers game where he throws four
picks.
bad picks.
Yeah, right.
And, you're down 27-0, 27-7 at halftime. And, he goes on a streak there in the second half.
Did you think he was going to be capable there?
It was the
that's
best
another
27 points we gave up. I know that.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel like we were out of the football game, which was crazy.
Well, one thing to piggyback off of that, this is a pet peeve of mine, and I think you'll give a somewhat honest answer. Don't get yourself fined by the league or anything. But it does that the interception where he threw the curl route to the right side and Asante Samuel interfered your guy. That's interference all regular season. And all of a sudden you get in a wild card game and they don't call it. Okay, exactly. It drives me effing crazy, Doug. It drives me crazy.
Bouncing around on the
It
carpet
drives
somewhere.
me crazy.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
You had Coach Staley on before.
Yeah.
He did a great job. He mixed some things up
Yeah.
and really kind of confused us a little bit offensively, and Trevor.
Right.
And a couple of those interceptions were based on what they had not shown us in week 3.
Right.
And now we're week 19.
Little curveball.
Some curveballs.
Yeah.
So credit to him and his staff for making those changes.
Right.
As you get distance from the 2022 season, what stands out more? The win in the wild card round under crazy circumstances, or the loss in Kansas City the week after that?
Wow, that's tough. I have to. You hate to say about losses. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs loss is going to propel us even more. I think this year the Charger game was kind of what our season was about. Right. In order for us to be a great football team like the Chiefs, we can't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. And which we did in that football game.
Right.
The turnovers cost us some costly penalties.
Dropped a big post route.
Dropped a big post, things like that. We fumble on the inside the 5 late in the game.
Right.
You can't do that against good football teams. So for me, I look at that game and go, you know what? We fixed those areas.
Yeah.
We're right there with them.
Yeah.
And have a chance to really compete, in the AFC.
Yeah, you think that gives your team to go wait, they won the Super Bowl and we played with them. We were there.
We were right there.
Yeah. That's a jump off spot.
Speaking
for
of
sure.
the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
this is something we've been having some fun with some of the coaches. I'm not going to try to conceal it. I'm going to tell you why I'm asking you this, because you're one of the guys at the forefront of going for it on fourth down. And the guy who now coaches the Eagles, Nick Sirianni, he had a decision to make down a point, 28-27, 10:33 to play, 4th and 3 from his own 32. Just gone 3 and out after the Chiefs go down the field and take the lead. And Sirianni said 32 out of 32 coaches punt there. Would you have punted there, or I guess more broadly, what all would you have thought of in that 40 seconds or so as you make the decision whether to punt or whether to go for it when you're down a point, when you've been up by 10, and you've got the ball 4th and 3 on your own 32?
You got to look at a couple things. You only got about 40 seconds or maybe a potential timeout to think about stuff. And, one, if I'm the Eagles, I haven't stopped the Chiefs yet in the second half, right? They've scored every time they touch the football.
2 times
I was in
a
a
row.
Super Bowl against the Patriots where everybody was scoring every single time. And I guess that's why, as head coaches, they say you get paid the big bucks to make these decisions.
Right.
But, you got to look at it and go, okay, do I punt the football? And I haven't really stopped my opponent, so, I'm going to put my team back out there and let's see what happens. Or you go for it. And and listen, I applaud him. I mean, it's a tough decision, but you're putting it, again, you're like we talked about, you're putting it back on the team. You're putting it back on your players to go out and execute. I have confidence as a head coach in my offense to make 3 yards, right? And whatever the play call is, and you're on the biggest stage and you're trying to win that game, and that's why I can understand the decision that he made.
Yeah. Okay. I
don't know if that's the answer you wanted to hear.
No,
but
that's we're just trying. I think we're trying to unpack the thought process
I wonder
and
if
how coaches think
the
about
size
it.
of the stage. Like if it's a game in week 8, maybe you go for it there. but it's the Super Bowl, and maybe you just feel the size of that stage and the spotlight and the 100 million people watching the game, and you decide to be conservative in a spot where you'd otherwise be aggressive.
This guy doesn't feel it. Mr. Philly over here doesn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that was before half, too, so that wasn't at the end of the game or in the fourth quarter, but and it was at the 1 yard line in my situation, so they got to go 99 that way. But again, you're making these decisions real time. I do know this that coaches do feel that pressure. You do feel like the weight is on you to make that decision, and so I can understand that. I can understand that, and again, that's something that we can coach our team and our teams moving forward in these areas. I know in Jacksonville we need to be better on fourth down. We weren't a very good fourth down team, and so learning from all these scenarios are going to help us.
Your QB's awesome. We know that. He's heading in the right direction. You've been around some great QBs, and I want to go to Mahomes here, if you don't mind. You got to see him twice this year. Break him down. I know you're watching film and doing it. What is it about Mahomes that jumps out to you? I mean, you were with Brett Favre. This guy is crazy. I'm amazed.
I am too.
Yeah,
I am too. And I've had a chance to spend time with Coach Reed here in the offseason now, and really since the Super Bowl, and he's even amazed. And he coaches the guy.
Yeah.
And this kid is just he's number one. He's wired the right way. He's your leader. He knows how to rally. He knows how to get guys together in the offseason and take control of the team.
No doubt.
And he's matured in the 5-6 years he's been in this league that I hope our guy sees it, does it, and we're in that situation here in a couple of years. But I've just been so impressed with Patrick, and I know when he was coming out of Texas Tech, and there probably weren't a lot of suitors. There weren't a lot of teams probably really high on him, and I know Andy Reid, having played for him and worked for him, that he's going to exhaust everything he can with the quarterback position. And I remember a conversation that we had after he drafted him, and he basically said he reminded him of Brett Favre.
Yeah, right.
Because he can make throws that nobody else can make.
Right.
And obviously we're seeing it firsthand now, and especially on the biggest stages, in the NFL.
So year 2 with the Jaguars, division seems to be yours for the taking. I don't know.
I'll jinx
there
him.
are tougher
Hey, we still got to play that.
Yeah, but you're not in the West. You could be dealing with Mahomes and some of these other quarterbacks. Right. What are you hoping to do in your second year with the program?
Well, that's just it. We've got to get better as a football team. We got to learn from our mistakes. When we were 3-7, we easily could have been 7-3, because some of these games we were in the fourth quarter, we just lost it, whether it was a turnover or we didn't get the defense didn't get off the field, or special teams. Those are the things that, in order for us to take the next step, we've got to fix those areas, and we've got to be more consistent in others, like the 3rd and 1s. We weren't a very good 3rd and 1 football team, 4th and 1 football team. We got to get better in the red zone. Our red zone efficiency wasn't great this year, 3rd down. So there's enough areas that we can focus on this offseason and training camp that'll put us in situations to be successful. And if we can do that, then we're in the conversation at the end of the year. You're playing for the AFC South Championship, I think, each year, and again, in that conversation.
You got some freaky talented guys. Was there anyone when you got there or they got on the field and you're like, oh my gosh, he's better than I thought, right? I mean, guys that just jumped on the scene like Andre Sisco, and I think people are learning about Tyson Campbell a little bit,
was
right?
One of those guys.
He was my second team All-Pro vote, right? People think I'm crazy, but
he was, besides the quarterback, he was the one that really stood out to me. Like, this is a special player.
It's like an island corner, right?
You can build your secondary and your team around a guy like that, Andre, Sisco, like you said, he was another one that came on, towards as the season progressed.
I know,
some young guys,
right.
But Tyson was that guy that really
you were like, whoa.
I was like, whoa, he's a good corner.
Yeah. You've got a Super Bowl win on your resume, and I have become aware over the years that coaches who have won a Super Bowl with one team and are now coaching another team all want to be that one, because nobody's ever done it, to be the guy to win a Super Bowl with 2 different teams. And you were in the final 8. It was you and Mike McCarthy was in the final 8. He's got a. I mean, is that something that that kind of pushes you and motivates? I could be the first one to ever do this, win a Super Bowl with 2 different teams.
You don't ever think about it, but now that we're in the off season and you brought it up.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool,
Right.
You know,
Right.
to be a part of NFL history that way. Having played this game obviously for so many years and now coaching it, and it would be great, and also for Mr. Khan with the struggles that they've had, and
Yeah.
you know, in his time as owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and really even with, I think about Trent Baalke and how he, you know, orchestrated a roster in San Francisco years ago that got them to a Super Bowl and things like that. So I think the nucleus is there. Now we've got to do our part, and we've got to coach and play better, and we got to do all of that. I understand it, but it's definitely something this year that we can build on, and hopefully again be in that position.
Yeah.
Well, fun to watch. It was a great first season. We wish you all the best in year 2 and beyond. Doug Pederson, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll be back with more PFT Live from the Scouting Combine right after this. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.